Welcome to Complete Edition, the podcast between a PlayStation Trophy Hunter and an Xbox Achievement Hunter. This is episode 40. I'm your host, Compulsive Nerd, and I'm joined by AJ. How you doing, AJ?
I'm doing well. I'm very relieved at the moment. I feel like a big weight has been lifted off of my shoulders, which has me quite happy. I've booked a few days off work, and then we have a few days off. We have like Friday and Monday and Tuesday next week off because of Easter. So like the university's closed on those days, so that's nice as well. So hopefully, well, obviously these next few days are going to be quite chill, and then hopefully next week is as well. So yeah, this week I had my Viva, which is like an oral assessment for like a kind of like a thesis defense, but for my first year report of my PhD. So I talked about before that I was writing this big report. It ended up being like 70 something pages, I think, or yeah.
Jeez.
And I was aiming for 30 originally, and then it just kind of got out of control with a bunch more experiments that I needed to add and a bunch more analysis that I did that my supervisor wanted to be in there. So yeah, I had my assessment. I was quite nervous because my work has covered quite a few areas and I wasn't sure which. Well, I had kind of an idea which areas Martin would like to look into, but not like the exact questions he'd ask, or I don't know where he'd want to go like deeper and deeper into detail about. So I kind of just prepared generically, but I was kind of overthinking it and over worried and over nervous because it really wasn't too bad. When I went into the Viva, he said that he thought my report was very good. In terms of like mistakes, the stuff was very minor. Everything seemed to make sense to him in terms of the results and everything, so that's good. The way I'd written about them. He asked me quite a lot of questions about theory, and I felt like I understood most of the theory. And then at the end of the Viva, it went for about an hour and a half, sort of defending my work and explaining some stuff further. He said that I answered most of the questions perfectly, so I passed the first year of my PhD. So I'm very happy.
That is amazing. Congratulations on that.
Yeah, it was. Things got more intense. Not really this week, but last week, because I did my Viva on Monday, so Tuesday was quite chill. But last week was really stressful. We had like a big presentation to do that week as well at the start of that week. So it was like the start of that week and then preparing for the Viva for the rest of it. So it was really intense. And it meant that my last weekend wasn't brilliant, and it was really frustrating because I wanted to play. I mean, it's like it's not a problem. I can control myself, but I really wanted to play a bunch of Resident Evil 4 Remake. I don't know if I've even talked about the original Resident Evil 4 much on this show, but it's my favorite Resident Evil game. It's one of my favorite games of all time. So it was like that came out, and I was like, I just want to play this like all weekend, but I need to be responsible and kind of do some work over the weekend to make sure I'm ready for my assessment on Monday. And it really pissed me off as well because over the weekend, I don't know when it happens. Like, I assume it happens at different times around the world, and some places not all. But the clocks went forward last weekend, so you skipped over an hour basically.
Yes. Oh, God, I hate it.
Which sucked because it was like, A, it means I have an hour less to prep. B, it means I have an hour less to play games. And C, it means that my Viva is effectively like an hour earlier. Like it was at like 11 a.m., but it felt like it was at 10 a.m. because the clocks skipped forward on like Sunday or Saturday. Wow. So I think it was Sunday, like 1 a.m. Yeah. And so that kind of sucked. But things are going well. It's weird going from like high intensity to like having a break, but it's nice. I'm glad I'm having it. I've been gaming today, which has been nice, and just like woke up late and didn't really care. So things are going well. It's good to unwind right now.
Yeah, that sounds so good, dude. Like, I feel like you deserve this break after all that. And like, I feel it. Like I like that you've taken time off and then you get extra time off for Easter and like the holiday thing happening. Cause like
Yeah,
you need to decompress. You need that weight that's off your shoulder. Now you just have to like get used to that, not having that weight on your shoulder for just a second. Like just a second, just chill out with it. But
yeah, it's lined up
yeah.
quite nicely with Easter, definitely. The I was thinking of because I probably would have taken more than 3 days off, but because of Easter next week, it's like, oh well, I get an extra three then, so like why not use those and not have to use any of my like holiday time? So yeah, it's pretty sweet. I was going to it was weird because I knew I wanted to book most of the rest of like that week after the Viva off, but I was like, if I fail the assessment, then I'm probably going to want to stay because you can resit and like resubmit the report. I think you get like an opportunity to resit. But I was like, so if I fail, I'm gonna have to. I can't take like days off. I'm gonna have to like fix all the shit that I've got wrong and then redo it. So I didn't want to book anything off before the thing. And then also I was thinking like immediately after, I've got to give like some level of notice. I can't just be like, right, I'm out of here. Like, see ya. So yeah, I would have probably had Tuesday off as well. But I was like, no, I should come in on Tuesday to at least be like, I'm going to take the rest of the week off. But no, it's been nice. It's not been too stressful. I went to the cinema last night as well. So yeah,
Have you
just
seen John Wick 4 yet?
no, I'm going to see that. I want to. I've heard great things
Yeah,
about
it's
it.
really good. It's like my favorite like movie franchise, I would say. And
Nice.
I did go see it just a couple nights ago, and yeah, I'm not disappointed. I'm very very happy with it. But I don't go to the cinema very often, so it's just kind of like was a special occasion for me.
Cool. Yeah. I like going to the cinema. I go, well, I mean, it depends. It like always depends on the film, right? But there's been a lot recently I feel that I've been into. I went to see The Whale. I went to see
Mm.
Infinity Pool recently. Enjoyed both of them quite a bit. So
I'm so out
yeah,
of the
it's
loop. I
nice.
keep hearing that movie, The Whale, and I don't know anything about it.
Yeah,
Zero. Never heard of
the
it until
the
today.
uh, the lead actor Brendan Fraser, he won Best Actor at the Oscars for his performance in it.
Wow.
Um, and yeah, it was good because I don't know, like he was in The Mummy, and then his career kind of collapsed. There was like some that you should like you read into it. It's interesting and sad. He basically got like, as far as I understand, like I don't know if assaulted, abused is the right term necessarily, but by a producer, and then effectively got like blacklisted from Hollywood apparently.
Damn. That is
And yeah, so it's been like good as it's been a really, I don't know, uplifting, I guess, storyline recently in terms of him being able to like get this huge role and then give like a phenomenal performance and then get, like a best actor win and sort of be, I don't know, loved by the industry again after having like a really rough time. So
yeah.
yeah, I wanted to see it because of that, but also I'd heard mixed things about the film, mostly positive, but some negatives. I'd seen that some people really love it and some people really really hate it, and that a lot of the time makes something more interesting to me because at
Oh
least it
yeah.
like takes risks and is, I don't know, interesting, I guess.
You've actually said
Um,
that to me before. Specifically, I remember this conversation with the with Uncharted. You're like you either want people to like really love it and you expect that or like really hate it cuz
yeah,
like then you're like, "Ooh, now I can go in and like
yeah. So
tear it
this was
apart or
slightly
whatever."
different in that it's like both, in the
Yeah.
sense that like some people are like this is amazing and some people are like this sucks. So it's not even like there's not really a consensus on the film. I think more
Right.
people like it than dislike it, but so it's not like a complete split.
Mhm.
But I'd heard from critics I respect both very good things and very bad things, and that made it interesting. And yeah, either way, right? Like kind of like when I was talking about Uncharted, and that I was going to see it if it got like either like universally like really really good reviews or universally really bad reviews
Yes.
or some good, like some really good, some really bad. but instead it just sort of got like meh reviews or like it's slightly good reviews like across the board, and that made it less interesting to me. Yeah, so that kind of thing is what I sometimes look out for. But also, I hadn't seen any of Aronofsky's films, and I felt like he was a director that I wanted to see something from. But anyway, this isn't a film podcast. So.
It's not. But it's good to catch up because it's been so many weeks since we last recorded. I think it's been we recorded I think mid-February, and it's the end of March, so it's been quite a while. So, but yeah, dude, I've been so busy that like gaming has like really actually taken a wayside in my life. Like it's just been off to the side, and I do get to game every once in a while, but I went to Houston right after we recorded the last episode, and that was an amazing experience. Got to meet a lot of Discord friends and, you know, just hang out. I got to see the Houston Space Center. That was really cool. And like, I just enjoyed Texas for a bit. I shot guns for the first time in my life. That was pretty sick.
Nice.
Like, really,
congratulations on not accidentally killing yourself or anyone else.
It definitely changes the perspective of like how guns are used in video games, because it's not as easy to aim as you think, and they kick back and stuff, and it's just like now I probably will pay attention.
Oh, you mean a crosshair doesn't pop up when you
Yeah, well, no, when you're aiming down the sights and everything, it's still like that's not where I was aiming. Like what?
Okay.
What the shit?
It depends on where your eye is, right? And
it does. It really depends on a whole lot of different things. But yeah, it was really cool. That was my first
the hit
time.
detection in real life is a bit off compared to video games. You think video games have got it better than the
That's so true. But the thing is, like, I crushed it. The first time I was shooting a pistol, and like I actually moved the target backwards because I was hitting everywhere that I was aiming. And then as it got further away, it was like, oh, wow, I'm like missing terribly from where I was aiming. So yeah, just like that kind of stuff. But that was really fun. And then I'm 9 weeks into the gym, and that has like really changed my life. So I'm working out Monday through Thursday, and it varies on time, but I don't want to become a gym rat. That's not a big part of like who I am, but I definitely wanted to lose some weight and then gain muscle. Like those two things were like very important to me. And so I've been doing that. But then tomorrow I have a baseball game that I'm going to. And then I just got accepted on Monday to the surgical tech program that I applied to. So I got my acceptance letter, and I will be starting in June for that. And it's just like, man,
nice. Congratulations.
Yeah, it's been crazy, man. Just like nonstop doing things. You know, I have class or work or working out. And then by the time it's nighttime and I want to sit down and game like I used to, and just game for like 4 or 5 hours, I'm exhausted. And I can't do it. And I'm like, I hate this. I'm like, how do people with kids even get gaming time in? Because I can't manage it. I can't even manage it, and I'm a single man. Like, what the fuck?
I wonder if it's tougher. Yeah, I wonder. I mean, maybe this relates to our topic later, but I wonder if it's tougher with how I feel like we do like a lot of planning and a lot of like there can be a lot of like structure and organization to the way we play games. We don't really play that casually. I find it difficult to kind of switch off to that like casual, like, oh, I'm just going to pick something up and play it for like 20 minutes. Like I find that quite difficult.
Yes.
I feel like I try to like make more of a thing out of it. And I think that makes it tough when you're busy, because it's hard to find something that you can just sort of pick up and play for a bit and then put down.
Yeah. What I want to do is, and I'll probably do it soon, is I actually might have Sean on for another episode, because that dude just does life really well. Like, you know, he's a teacher, and then he exercises and he bakes and he cooks, and then he plays a very good amount of games. And I would just like want to sit down and maybe have a conversation. Like, how do you structure your life to do everything you do? Because like I really am just bad at it. I'm just bad at it, man. And so I actually have been cooking and eating.
How much do you sleep?
Probably 8 to 9 hours.
Okay, well, that's the problem.
Yeah, sleep less.
Sleep for 6 hours.
Oh,
there's
dude,
a lot of. I'm joking, but there's some people I know, especially in terms of PhD students, who don't sleep for very long, and I don't know how they do it. Yeah, because I feel like I need 7 or 8. Apparently, you get used to it, but I'm not convinced. I don't think that's necessarily supported by any I don't know. Like it's different for each person, I think.
I think you're right, but there are studies that show like you can, because of the way that sleep cycles work, you can get into a sleep cycle where when you rest, you hit a point of exhaustion and your brain goes into like REM faster when you're sleeping less because you need the rest. And like that's where you
Right.
get your peak rest. So by conditioning yourself to go 6 hours, your brain eventually kicks into high gear and is like, okay, so we need to get to REM faster. And so there's studies that show that, but does it work for every person? Probably not. Because I tried to do
Fair.
that
I
shit
guess
and
I
it didn't
guess
work.
there's nothing worse than when you like need to sleep and you're not tired because yeah, then it feels like you're like sleeping for extra hours but for
Yeah.
like no benefit
Yeah.
other than to just like keep your life in order, I guess. Because yeah, I feel like yeah, either like the last few hours, the last couple of hours or the first couple of hours of sleep are kind of wasted if you're not actually tired. I don't know. Like but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not either, but it's been weird because like with all the exercise, I'm like just going outside more. I think I've just I've been skateboarding again, and like I've been playing basketball, which I don't normally do ever. Actually, not since I was a kid, but it's fun. It's good cardio, and so like whenever after work or something, I'm like the sun's still up. I guess I'll go do that. I guess I'll go. I guess I'll go do something else. And it's just like I used to just get off work, come home, eat, get right on the games. And like because of how everything has changed just with the structure of my life, it's just like games have taken a backseat for a second. And I don't want them to because I love them so very much. And like I was sitting there and I've actually we're going to talk about Resident Evil 4 later, but I've only got like 5 minutes in it
Okay.
because I just straight up sat down last night. I bought it yesterday and I sat down and it was after a long day of the gym and just everything else. I had a doctor's appointment, was just like getting stuff done. Oh, I guess that's another thing that I forgot to mention is like a reason that I didn't even hit you up for like 2 weeks is because I had an ear infection and I couldn't hear out of my left ear.
Right, yeah,
And I
yeah.
was so irritated. I was like, I'm not even going to even sit down with AJ. I would get, I might interrupt him a lot. I might just not be in the mood to just talk to anyone. Like I was so frustrated. I usually don't have road rage, but man, so like I'd hit a red light and I'd be like, this sucks. Like what? It's just like I was so freaking frustrated because I couldn't hear out of my left ear like at all. Like thing I would hear sounds and then I'd be like, where'd that come from? Was that behind me? Was that in front of me? I literally could not. I had no concept of like sound because I couldn't hear out of the left side of my head. Sucked ass. But anyways, I've been going to the doctors and like trying to get healthy, and so that was like a big reason that we didn't record for a long time because I was just like I just can't do it. And now I can't hear. By the way, I think I've lost a little bit. I'm going to the doctor next week specifically for my ear, and
Okay.
and because like when I put my earbuds in, the left one is just a little quieter than my right one, and I'm like, is that going to come back? I don't know. I actually have no idea, but it sounds like a 10% loss, maybe 15%, but it's better than all of it because that when it was gone, it was real frustrating. But
Yeah, for sure. I think yeah, I guess it's weird when there's like a differential between one ear and the other. Like you'll notice that a lot. But
yeah,
I feel like yeah, as long as you don't have I guess ringing or like issues, yeah, like tinnitus or whatever, but
yeah,
you could you could probably get used to having like reduced
oh yeah,
hearing
it,
by like
it
that amount where you sort of I feel like you'd forget like what it was even fully like before eventually,
yes,
but it's weird with one ear being different to the other, you can kind of
instantaneously.
know.
It was
Yeah.
instantaneous. I woke up and I was like, oh man, I was like, why is my hearing a little bit weird in this ear? And then what I did was I went and got peroxide, and this is just a remedy to get earwax out of your ear. And I just put peroxide in there for just a couple minutes, and then I dumped it out, and it sounded like my ear was still full of fluid, and then I
Yeah.
couldn't hear, and I was like, what is happening? And I went to the doctor later that day. Like I went to a walk-in clinic, and she's like, whoa, your ear is infected, and I'm like, oh, well, that would explain the pain. That would explain the loss of hearing. That would explain a whole lot of different things that I've been going through all day. But it's as I got better, the sound was like underwater in that ear. And that
Yeah.
was like the biggest and most jarring thing. And dude, this is a reason why I didn't game very much. Why would you want to play games when you sound like you're underwater? Even when you have a headset on, like it just was like I didn't want to watch media. I didn't want to do anything. It made everything suck for such a long time. And then now I can hear without it sounding like it's underwater. And like the only time that I notice that it's a little bit less is when I put those earplugs in, and then guess what? It balances out because my brain like just does that thing where it's like
Okay.
you're just hearing normal now. This is just normal now. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah,
So
that's not too bad. But yeah, I'm glad you're still getting it checked out.
yeah, I want to keep an eye on it. Don't want it to rupture or anything or
Yeah, for
have
sure.
sometimes when this is, by the way, that was my first ear infection I've ever had in my entire life, and they say like that ear infections can become chronic. So I just want to make sure that I do everything possible to not ever have one ever again. But yeah, so that was a minute in time, and now I'm better and things are great and we're here recording. But yeah, I actually you I think you mentioned earlier when we were talking that you played like 3 games. Is that right?
Yeah.
And I played about 6.
Okay,
So
nice.
there were more than that, but it was a little bit strange. And I think I'll go right into it because I think that it can be quick because there's not really too much that I have to say about everything. So I Platinum Witcher 3 again, and then I did both of the DLCs, but it was like broken up. I played other games, left it in the background, and then whenever I had downtime, I was just like, I can just fool around in The Witcher 3. It's great. And I finally got, when I finished all the trophies on Blood and Wine, I deleted the game. Well, I actually completed all the missions and everything. I really love that game. It's my favorite game ever. But for the 1 millionth time that I've said that. But I finished all the DLC and I deleted it. And I'm like, oh, that's nice to be done. The 2 things that I want to talk about, which I think I talked about this the last time we recorded, which was Dead Space. And I'm going to talk about 2 things at once, which is Dead Space and Hogwarts. And these games will be in my Game of the Year conversation. But specifically, I loved hunting Hogwarts Legacy.
You know what's nuts, by the way, to interrupt?
Yeah, go ahead.
We're 3 months into the year, and the amount of games that have come out is
Oh, it's
ridiculous, and are coming out is ridiculous. Like this year is, or it's like, but it's, you just remind, because you said like Game of the Year thing, and we're 3
Mhm.
months in, and there's
But it's
so
true.
many standout titles already, and there's like, even April isn't like letting up. April and May, like you've got like the Jedi Survivor. You've
Oh yeah,
got,
I'll be playing that.
yeah, I think Redfall's coming soon. Like there's stuff coming every single month, and then there's, you know, like towards the end of the year, you've got Spider-Man 2, you've got Starfield. Like Jesus, it's
It's awesome.
insane this year. It's
It's going to
really
be a
really
great
crazy.
year. I don't
Yeah,
know
I
if
noticed on the Xbox store, I think Sifu came out on Xbox like the same day as RE4 remake as well. Like it's insane. Like I can't
it's insane.
even keep up with it. But yeah, continue. Sorry.
No, it's okay. It's great because I think that you bringing attention to me saying Game of the Year this early on is just an indication that I'm not like sitting here just being like, oh, this is the first game I played, so it's my Game of the Year. It's like the games are coming out, and in that conversation, there's already 10 games to be talking about for the Game of the Year. It's crazy. And we're only in March. So it's kind of cool. But like these 2 games, I had a damn good time with. Dead Space Remake, I think I went way in depth with that. I had almost had the platinum last time we talked, or I did have it. And Hogwarts. But I think the reason that I brought this up is because Hogwarts, I had such a good time trophy hunting that game. Like I could not believe it. I think I had more fun like trophy hunting that game than I did with Dead Space, but I think that Dead Space is like probably a game that I love more because it's like the horror genre, which is something that I love. It's like kind of linear. Like it doesn't have a lot of open world stuff, which another huge aspect that I love.
It's very tight experience.
It's very
Dead
tight,
Space.
shorter, and I love that. And so it's got replayability, and it looks great. I mean, there's so many great things to say about the Dead Space.
Yeah, all killer, no filler.
Yes, and it was so good. But whenever I played Hogwarts,
I haven't played the remake, but I'm basing it off the original.
Dude, well, you're right on with everything about it. It's so fucking good. But like, with Hogwarts, I don't know, man. Just the collectibles, like I just be out in the world exploring, and it just really got a great sense of like these short collectibles where you wave your wand and it's like that thing that video games do where it scans around you, and like sometimes you'd hear a ding and you'd be like, oh my God, I know there's something nearby because I heard it. And then you're listening in your headset to like, oh, it's on my left side. Oh no, it's on my right side. And you're just like running around like exploring and looking for this. And then they give you a little lore drop that's like not more than a paragraph. Usually it's not even more than 2 sentences. And so you're like, wow, that's cool about that. And that gives me context to this part of the castle or whatever. And then you're on to the next thing. And it like, it was specifically a video that I watched, and I don't know if I mentioned this, but there's like 10 seconds of like within 10 seconds of wherever you are, there's always something to do. So you wave your wand and there's a page, and then you wave your wand, there's some enemies. You wave your wand there. You're just always 10 seconds from you. There's an event happening. Maybe it's students who are arguing or like weird magical things that are happening, and it makes the game completely engaging all of the time. And it's like, it's one of the coolest things that I've ever seen. And The Witcher did it. I think it had like 25 seconds where like between points of interest, so that like you constantly had, no matter which direction you went in, you had something within 25 seconds. And I think this game design is genius actually, because it keeps you engaged with exploring and like it keeps you from getting bored. And just because of that, man, I just enjoyed the shit out of like trophy hunting and collecting everything and getting everything in Hogwarts. Even though you can just say it's a collectathon or whatever, it was super awesome. But Hogwarts was my 249th platinum, and I love the gameplay. I loved the story was decent. I'm not gonna say it's like my top 10 stories or anything like that, but it was serviceable enough to where it didn't get in the way of the game, and I was like ready to see the next part, especially because it's surprising that they were able to do that much without using anything from Harry Potter. It's 100 years before Harry Potter, so that's pretty cool. And so these two games
I mean,
like,
any of the main characters from
Harry Potter does not exist. That's why I do get a little bit frustrated when people say like, oh, the Harry Potter game. I'm like, no, it's the Wizarding World game or the Hogwarts game or whatever you want to call it, but Harry Potter is not in it. Harry Potter is not a character.
Yeah, sure, but the original books are called Harry Potter and the blah
True.
blah, right? Like, so
Right.
Like, as in, you could understand, like, people would associate Hogwarts with Harry Potter. So yeah.
I understand, but I'm talking.
They've kind of
like a character.
They've kind of rebranded it like after the fact, right?
Yeah.
Is what's kind of awkward about it, is they were Harry Potter and then they were like, oh, we're going to expand beyond that character and his stories. So now we've called it Wizarding World, but they've had to sort of, I don't know if retcon is the right term here, but they've had to like try to expand it out afterwards when everyone already associated the whole brand with Harry Potter, which is kind of awkward.
Yeah. But you kind of get what I'm saying. It's just like,
yeah.
Harry Potter's not in this at all. No characters from Harry Potter are in it. So that's it. Just is like, again, it's its own standalone thing, and it's so good. Like it was really great. I never watched like Phantom Beasts or whatever, but they have like a Phantom Beast component and things like that. So it really does just go expand, like very expansive into the universe of the Wizarding World, and I really enjoyed that. But Hogwarts was my 249th platinum, and then that meant that I jumped back onto Stardew, which didn't take me very long at all. But I played the little arcade game in it, and I platinumed it, got my 250th platinum. And then what I did, and this is actually really fun to talk about because we were talking about like small bursts or small chunks, and like this was getting myself. So with all of those other games, I kind of finished them and then I didn't game for a while. So that was like a several weeks ago that I did all that. And I went to the library because I needed to print some stuff. And I just was like, it's the county library. It's just down the street from me. It's probably like, I would say it's maybe 6 minutes away. But I went down there and I was printing off some paper for school, and I saw the cart and I went over to it and I was like, can I look at the video games? And she was like, yep. Rolled it out. So many Switch games. Unbelievable. I could just rent Switch games for the rest of my life and I never have to buy anything off the Nintendo store, which is great. But yeah, I just I looked at it and they went from, the last time I looked, they had like 6 PS5 games and now they have like well over 30. And I saw Plague Tale Requiem and I'm like, ooh, I could get the platinum on that. I played it before and I could do it. And so I fired it up and I was like, just a couple chapters a night. That's all I need to do to get my toes back into gaming, because I've been on such a long hiatus that it's like I got all the way to chapter 11 and then I need to turn it in. And when I turned it in, someone had a hold on it, so I didn't get to extend my stay or extend my my thing. So now I'm like at chapter 11. I almost have all the collectibles in the game, and I'm like, damn, got to take a break from Plague Tale. So I downloaded. That's when yesterday I downloaded Resident Evil 4, and I just dipped my toes in it, but I was way too tired. And dude, later today, I'm probably gonna play Resident Evil 4. I'm gonna shut my blinds and my blackout curtains, and I'm gonna sit in this dark room and play that game. But I'm like so excited. But then I'll go back to Plague
That
Tale.
game is fucking long, by the way.
Resident Evil 4.
Oh yeah, it's long.
Yeah, dude. Let's talk about that for a second. Have you seen the trophy list? Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm gonna platinum this one, because it's just like, how many playthroughs? It's like 5, I think, or something.
Yeah.
Dude. Oh
No, I'm really enjoying it so far. But
you are? Oh man, let's talk about it. Because I mean,
Okay.
I played the original, but I haven't played this new one, so I'm totally like open, but I'm not, maybe don't spoil too much. But
Okay.
I've heard Ashley's a better character. I'm so looking forward to this whole thing, but it starts off already different with like the police car. Dude took a piss, man, and then like I was like, "What are you doing?
Yeah, you
Wandering
just fucked
off?"
off. Yeah.
Yeah, what the hell happened, man? It was making me laugh so hard. I was like, "Oh, this is gonna
Yeah,
be
I'm
so
about
much
to head
fun."
out. That's what. Yeah, he just left.
He really did. He really did. It was so awesome. I was like, "Oh my god, I'm ready for this." And Leon's already fucking like cracking jokes and shit, and I'm like, this is gonna be great. This is gonna be great. So
Yeah.
I'm excited.
So I'm at the island right now, which
Okay.
so I think I'm chapter 13, maybe 13 or 14, I think, and so like close to the end. I think there's 16 chapters total. I think I'm like 17 hours in or something. I did my first
Wow.
playthrough on hardcore, and I've been like going for everything, like all the items, and kind of trying to min max as much as I can, and also
Can I interrupt
try
you real
things out.
quick?
Yeah.
So I started on standard, and I might go back and start on hardcore, because like I felt so insulted, dude. Like it says right at the beginning, standard is for those who didn't play the original Resident Evil 4, and hardcore is for those who played the original Resident Evil 4. And I'm like, damn, I
Yeah.
played it. Like, well, you sons of bitches. It makes me want to put it right on to hardcore right away. And it's just
Hardcore
like,
is harder than original Resident Evil 4 standard, but I'd say it's maybe slightly easier than Resident Evil 4 professional. But I don't know, it's actually quite close to Resident Evil 4 professional, I feel like. I assume you did it on professional. Do you have a platinum in Resident Evil 4?
no, I don't think that.
Okay.
I don't know if PlayStation ever had a platinum. They had like 100%
There's a PS4
trophies.
port though, right?
Yeah, but I don't think that it has the a platinum trophy. I think it's just the list without a completion, like a
Does it have a
platinum on
gold
top.
trophy for beating it on professional then?
I'm not sure. Here, let me check real quick, because I
Okay.
do have
The-
PSN profiles open.
Okay, so the 360 port has an achievement to beat it on professional, and the Xbox One port has an achievement to beat it on professional. So what I was getting at is if you'd done all the ones in Resident Evil 4 on PS4, then you would have beaten it on professional. Like if you can beat that game on professional, you can beat this one on hardcore, I think. But it's quite tough. It's got the same difficulty curve as the original. So if you remember from the original, there's specific parts that are really, really tough, and then most of it is kind of easy. At least that's my experience, and I think that's most people's experience. So, like right towards the start with the El Salvador in the village,
Yes.
that part's quite hard. Then there's a part later. There's a few other difficult moments, but there's this part like where you get the rifle and there's like a bunch of bridges and tons of enemies. That part's quite hard.
Is that where like a lot of chainsaw dudes start coming out?
No.
Okay.
Then there's a part where you're defending a house towards the end of the like first like main act. That part's quite hard. Then there's a part with like there's a couple of battles in the castle that are really hard. But everything else is easy. Like well, there's some parts later that are hard as well, but it's like the difficulty curve of RE4 in the original and in the remake is like easy, 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 difficulty spike, easy, 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 difficulty spike, easy, easy, difficulty spike, easy, difficulty spike. Like it's like it's not a, and when you prepare for it on harder difficulties, at least when I play on harder difficulties, I like know which parts are coming up. So I'm like, oh, this part's coming next, so I need to save my resources or I need to buy this thing from this merchant because this is going to happen. In the original, I did that a lot with buying rocket launchers because I'd be like, oh, this fight's coming up. I want a rocket launcher for this fight because I know this room sucks. So I'll do that now. And that kind of thing. And that's
Yeah.
similar here. So they've not like, I don't know, they've not like smoothed out the difficulty, which I feel like will kind of be controversial, perhaps. I mean, I guess it isn't because it's the game's got universal acclaim, but the original has universal acclaim as well. So whatever. But I like that aspect being retained, but I feel like some people won't and might get frustrated with it. It's the type of thing where you'll like not die for most of a chapter, and then there'll be one fight and you'll die like 6 times. And that'll
Oh wow.
happen a lot on hardcore
Well,
specifically.
I think that you've convinced me to go up to hardcore just because I kind of do want the challenge, but also I just like playing horror games on a harder difficulty because it makes things more intense. It might not be that much different, but it really, really does make things intense sometimes. It's like, God damn.
Do you
But
have the deluxe edition?
I don't. I don't.
Okay. The deluxe edition makes it easier, which is kind of annoying to me.
Yeah, I noticed that. It had like a treasure map type thing.
Yeah, so what's weird about that, and I actually really don't like this decision, is that I don't think you can even turn it off, but although I guess you have indicators on the map for every expanded treasure map. So when you get the expanded treasure map with the deluxe edition, it's not just like the map that you get. The treasures themselves aren't in the game if you don't have that map. So even if you went to like the location where the treasure is on the map, but you didn't have the deluxe edition, the treasure just wouldn't be there at all, which is really weird to me because it basically means that if you have the deluxe edition, you get more money in the game, like across the whole game, which just gives you an advantage. So I kind of I don't understand that decision. It seems stupid to me. Like the way I probably would do it is make it so that I don't know. I guess it's less of a bonus for the deluxe edition, but maybe like make it so you get the map, like you get the locations with the deluxe edition, but they still exist in everyone else's game. Like it seems weird to be like, oh fuck you, like you don't get these. Like the game's harder for like no, I don't know how significantly, but slightly significantly more difficult
Right.
because you don't have the deluxe edition. Like I don't get that. You get some guns as well, and some charms, and those are useful, but those are less egregious to me. So I have the deluxe edition. I've been working on guides with Maka for this, and I didn't get to contribute much because I was focused on my Viva. But I was going through some of his collectible videos for the earlier chapters, and I was like, oh, the like your guide and the Power Picks guide missed out this treasure here on like chapter 2. Like it's like right here. Like you could just, and then we realized, oh, actually you can't get it because you don't have the deluxe edition and I do have the deluxe edition. So it's just not in your version of the game. At first I thought, oh, maybe it's treasures that are like only on hardcore mode because he was playing on assisted. So I was like, oh, maybe they added extra treasures because stuff is more expensive on hardcore versus the other difficulties. So I thought maybe to compensate, they added treasures, but no, it's from the deluxe edition. And so, yeah, that was kind of weird and annoying.
Yeah, I don't like that already. That things cost more. That just sucks. But
yeah, it's not too bad, but the shooting ranges are fun. So I've got a guide for, well, me and Maka have a guide for the shooting ranges, getting S ranks on them. I didn't quite perfect them. So you can get an S rank based on points, and then you can get 3,000 score. Like every 1,000 score you get above the S rank, you get like an additional token. And I won't talk about the tokens or anything because I don't know. I don't want to like spoil everything that's different about the remake and like everything that it does. But basically every 1,000 above the S rank that you get up to 3,000, you get like an extra star, and then you get an extra thing from it, a token from it. So I got 2 stars above, like 2,000 above the S ranks, and then I also shot these. There's like these like skulls you can shoot, and if you shoot all of them, you get like an extra prize. So in my videos, I've got the S ranks 2,000 points above the S rank, and then also all of the skull things. Because when like when I make a guide, I love making a guide that has leeway for someone trying to follow it who either doesn't have the patience or isn't as skilled, or just in case something in my guide, like let's say I get like a lucky like shot, right? Like I shoot a target as it's fading away and my crosshair isn't really on him, but it still counts anyway. Like that sucks when you watch. I don't want someone to watch that and like feel like they have to recreate it exactly, especially if I get away with some like bullshit in there, which I don't think I do in this case, but sometimes you realize like later that your strategies aren't optimal. So it was good to have like an extra 2,000 points, because it's like, oh, you could miss like 5 of the targets, or you could not get all of the skull things that I get, and you'd still get the S rank and still get the achievement, which I think is like the best way to do it ideally, and not just do like the bare minimum for what people need to copy or put time into. So, but at the same time, I was like, it's probably going to take me too long to get like the perfect, like complete, like full score, full combo, like everything. And most people aren't going to be interested in that either, because the benefit for getting that final like 1,000 isn't really worth it, in my opinion, and probably in most players' opinions, I think. So, which is also nice because it means there's less pressure on you to like spend tons and tons of time in the shooting range. But they're really fun. I'm proud of the guide. I didn't do all of them. I did, I think, 9 of the shooting ranges, and Maka did the final 3. So yeah, it was really good working with him on it, as always. I'm happy with the video, and yeah, the shooting ranges are really cool.
Do they come after you beat the game?
They come every so often, like every few chapters.
Okay.
You get 3 at a time.
And
So you
is
got
it
like
like in the
1A, 1B,
menus?
1C. No, it's a physical place. There's an elevator next to a merchant at particular
Oh, okay.
locations. Just
Okay.
the same as the
Wow.
original, I think. I think
Okay.
well, I think in the original they're in the castle. But yeah, there's stuff that still works from the original that I really appreciate as well. Like flashbang grenades can kill crows, and crows drop money and loot and stuff, which is nice. It's nice seeing that. I think the game takes itself a bit more seriously than the original, but it has like added jokes as well. I think Leon's tone is slightly different. I think I prefer the original, but I think the like I don't know why. I feel like I prefer Leon in the original, but I prefer the supporting characters in this rather than the original. So that's kind of like some stuff's better, some stuff's worse. I think visually Leon's like design and like how, I don't know, like the movement and how like reactive he is in terms of gameplay. The lack of there's technically there's some QTEs, but there's not a bunch of QTE spam in this game, which is better as well than the original. But it's weird. There's stuff that it does better and stuff that it does worse, I think. That it's kind of, for me, it kind of balances out. I'd need to really think about it, and I need to play more, whether I like this more than the original or less than the original. But the fact that it's close is itself like a great achievement for this, because I think I expressed some skepticism of this being able to recapture the magic of the original, and I'm not fully like, it's definitely not as revolutionary, but also I think so many of the pieces are there that it works really, really well. But I was kind of like, oh, I don't know about this as a remake, because the original is great and the original is still great. And I still think that I still can play the original and really enjoy it. I know a lot of people disagree with that because of the controls in particular. But for
I think the
me,
controls are so amazing with the old one. It just like
yeah,
it's
I
such a
like them.
challenge.
I like how
Yeah.
aiming feels. The other thing as well, this is like a glitch. I think like it needs a patch, but the aiming absolutely sucks on Xbox, which is quite funny because like people's problem with the original is like all the controls and the aiming feels a bit weird and you can't move while you shoot. Whereas in this, like you're more reactive, like you can move while you shoot and you're a bit more like your mobility is definitely better in this one. The flexibility with like the knife and you can do like stealth takedowns and stuff. Like you can do more stuff than in the original in this one. But the aiming is really bad on Xbox for some reason. There's like so I messed around with the controls and there's aim acceleration by default, which I really hate in games, which is where you like when you first move the stick, it moves slowly, but the longer you like hold down the stick, it speeds up, like the aim. Whereas I don't like that. I like to be able to like control the speed of the aim with the amount that I push the stick. Like exactly, rather than how long the stick is held, as well as how much I push the stick, because I feel like that's more complicated and a bit more like variable. I guess like I don't know, maybe my brain's too small to handle it, but I don't like aim acceleration typically, at least not aggressive aim acceleration. And I noticed there's a slider for it, but even when you turn it all the way to zero, it's definitely not zero. Like either I'm like losing it or it was absolutely still accelerating because what would happen is even if I push the stick as much as possible, my aim starts out really, really slow and then speeds up and keeps speeding up. And eventually it
Whoa.
like caps out at like a level of speed, but it definitely speeds up and speeds up. And I don't like that it does that. And then the other thing is, which is probably connected, like it's probably the same problem. The sticks have like weird dead zones on them where it like just doesn't read the input for some reason. There's like a delay on it reading the input, which is I think why the acceleration still happens. Which again, I don't know how it's happened. Apparently, it's not as bad on PlayStation. Yeah, I don't know what the issue is, but it's really annoying because it was annoying with the shooting range stuff because you want to be really precise, and my aim kind of looks like it's a bit shit. Like I'm well above the score threshold, so it's fine, but I am playing it and I've seen some people play it on PC, which is like the complete opposite with like a mouse. Obviously, like a mouse, you have like pinpoint control of your aim, and it's like I'm so jealous. I'm like, I wish I was playing it with a mouse because it's so annoying with an Xbox controller for some reason. And then the other thing is that so in the original RE4, I might be no, I'm not crazy. The default pistol in RE4 has a laser sight, right? Like all the pistols have a
Yes.
laser that you aim with. Yeah.
Mhm.
So in this one, it's a crosshair and the laser sight is like a separate attachment and it only applies to some pistols, not all of them. And the way it works in this is it's like the like RE7 and RE8 where you aim and then a crosshair comes up and then the longer you like stand still, it like narrows. Like it the crosshair gets your aim gets more precise the longer you stand there with it,
Yeah.
or the longer you hold the aim. Yeah, so it does that instead of having the laser, which I guess is to counteract the increase in mobility that Leon has. But all of this
Yeah.
combined means that it can actually feel more satisfying to shoot in the original because of like the default laser and not having this like weird Xbox issue, that it can actually feel more like in terms of precision and in terms of a feeling like I don't know, like a badass, like uh I don't know, glow up Leon compared to RE2. You feel more empowered in the original, which is yeah, odd because it feels like it contrasts with the added stuff with the knife. You can parry with the knife as well, which is a really good change. I like that.
Yeah, I heard you
I
can
love
upgrade
parry
the knife
systems.
too.
Yeah, you can upgrade the knife. Well, the knife can break now, whereas it couldn't in the
Oh.
original,
Okay.
which means you rely on it less, but you can use it for more stuff. So I guess again, it's like a balancing thing. Because I think if you could just use the knife endlessly, it would actually allow for some very fun strategies and fun runs, I think. But yeah, it
Fun
can be quite
flavors. Yeah,
expensive to
that'd be
repair the
cool.
knife as well, which is a bit awkward. But no, I think it works as a balancing feature. I love the changes to the knife. It's really good. But a lot of the changes are it's weird because it feels like they didn't really change too much. I noticed structurally, I feel like the game makes more sense than the original. I felt like the way the maps were linked together in the original wasn't as coherent as they are here. There's a lot of stuff in this one where like you'll be like in the village and you can like see the castle in the distance, right? And you can see more of the world connected. And also like in the castle, stuff like the clock tower, it feels more like an actual place that you go to, and it's not like this like crazy set piece that feels disconnected from everything else. Whereas there were some areas in RE4 that the original RE4 that I felt could be a bit like that. But the changes are quite subtle in in terms of the difference. It's almost like, and a lot of stuff is retained pretty much exactly like beat for beat to the original. But I think that's nice because they've been very careful to try to retain as much as possible from the original in that way. And it's also difficult for them because they're kind of like damned if they do, damned if they don't, in a way. So I think they've managed it really well in terms of if they change too much, people will be pissed off because the original is considered a classic. And if they keep too much stuff the same, people would say the remake is a cash grab because the original, I mean, the original's old, but it's like, I don't know, you can play it on Xbox One and
You can play it
PS4.
on PS4.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So I feel like they were in an awkward position in that sense, and they've managed it as well as they could have. I wish it had mercenaries in. It's coming as a free update, which is nice, but I wish it had it already. But that's fine. The game's already really long and has a lot of bonus content and extra stuff.
Mm-hmm.
There's new weapons added as well, which is nice.
Oh,
The gem
that's exciting.
system is different. Yeah, it's really good.
I'm
Hardcore is
really
fun.
excited. I went and found my PSN profiles for the PS4 version of the game, and it doesn't have a platinum. It has 12 trophies. I have 7 out of the 12, but there's a lot of things in it that I didn't do that I wish that I would have. But I can always go back and replay that game because, like you said, man, it's available and it's it's like one of the all-time greats for real. Like, but I can't believe it. I don't have the trophy for do not shoot the water to summon the master of the lake.
Yeah.
Like, how do I not have that? Like,
Yeah.
but I did never clear it on
Yeah,
the
that's not
highest
too hard
difficulty.
as well. That's quite early. It's really
Yeah.
early, actually.
And then acquire all the bottle caps, acquire all of the costumes, and turn the tables on Vertigo. I really don't. Those are just like those are all the trophies I don't have. So I could go back and do that.
So you have the professional one?
No,
Or
I don't.
no, you don't. Okay.
It's
I
called
heard.
that one's a Heart of Steel and clear the game on the highest difficulty. I need to go
Oh,
do
okay.
that.
Okay. Yeah, the when you said about the monster in the lake, they kept in the uh boss fight with that giant fish. Is it was it who is it Del Lago? I don't know. That's
Delago.
Spanish for lake, right? Whatever. Anyway,
Right.
the yeah, they kept in that boss fight, and that boss fight is basically exactly the same, and it looks like shit, and it plays like shit, in my opinion. But I mean, it's fine as like a set piece thing. Like basically, Leon's in a boat, and he's got like infinite harpoons somehow. There's no harpoons even visually in the fucking boat for some reason, but you just have infinite ammo harpoons, and you just like throw it at him as you're being dragged along, and you have to like dodge left and right. And then he like goes under the water, and you don't know where he's gone, and you got to like spin around and try and find him. It's a really dumb. I mean, it's fine. It doesn't go on for
It's
too
Resident
long, but
Evil.
no, I'm surprised they just kept it as it is because it's exactly like that in the original. And I thought for sure they're gonna redo that because that part kind of sucks. And also, it's like it doesn't like it's easy, so it's like it doesn't really matter that it sucks because you just do it and then it's over in like 3 minutes or something. So it's like who cares? But at the same time, like there must have been so much work going into the remake that I'm like, why wouldn't you just change it? Because also the water looks terrible for me. Maybe I need to turn on ray tracing or whatever, but it looks really bad. Like the way the water ripples when he like comes out and like submerges and comes back out. There's times where it looks really, really bad for some reason, and I'm like, "What the fuck?"
Wow.
Like the fight mechanic sucks, and then also it doesn't even look good. But No, it's not even terrible. I just don't like that fight. I don't think. I never liked it in the original. But no.
I'm
I
playing
mean,
on.
I'm sure
I'm
I'm
playing
sure
it.
lots of people do love that. They're like, "Yes, this is the fight." Yeah, I remember joking that Leon must have like a second attaché case full of harpoons for that fight.
He probably does. Leon
And
has everything. He has eggs, but
yeah, he does. The
he-
eggs don't stun the zombies
oh, they don't.
anymore. They used to. I'm sorry. This is so again. Resident Evil 4's one of my favorite. I know way too much about that game. Not at one time. I probably need to replay it again. But you could throw eggs at the zombies, and it would set them up for like the melee hit. Like you throw it at their head, and they're like, "Oh, my head! Oh, I can't see." And then you can do like the kick or the suplex or whatever on them. Well, it would just be the kick. I wasn't able to do that. I threw an egg at one, and he just didn't give a fuck. And I was like, "What? I've been robbed of an egg. I could have eaten the egg. I could have sold the egg."
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
it's very sad. But
All right.
it's yeah, RE4 is still really, really good. I noticed I don't know if you can cheese the like. I think maybe you slightly can, but I think S plus rank on hardcore might be tricky. I'm hoping it is tricky because I want the challenge. Because so the problem with I don't know if it's a problem. I don't like those games as much, but in RE8 there's a bunch of achievements like beat the game without using the box, beat the game without healing, beat the game with I don't know, just a pistol or something. There's a bunch of achievements like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you can put it on the easiest difficulty and or use a bunch of like new game plus unlock stuff and do it very very easily. Do it within like 2-3 hours, right? And you can like stack them together as well. And it's not very difficult. And then you can do the hardest difficulty with like infinite ammo, everything basically. And I like that as a bonus, but at the same time the achievements kind of they feel like they don't have any challenge to them. They feel more like a grind, even though it's not that bad a grind because the game only takes about 3 hours, 3-4 hours to do. So, and it's still quite fun anyway, even with the infinite ammo stuff. But it doesn't feel like in the spirit of the achievement, I feel like. And I also feel bad when there's bound to be some people that just do it. I don't know if properly is the right term, but they just do it legitimately. They put the game on normal. They have like no unlocks and they genuinely beat the game without healing at all. And like those people who do that deserve the achievement way more than idiots like me who just like
Yeah.
steamroll the game
I was
for
thinking the
free.
same thing. It's like anyone who tells me they did that, I'm just gonna trust them because I didn't.
Yeah,
Like I'm not
exactly.
going to. Like it's just like I got it.
It kind of feels like I assume. I mean, it must be intentional. Like they must know that people are going to do that, but at the same time, it feels like kind of a wasted achievement in a way because it's not hard, but it sounds like it should be hard, and it should demand like a mastery of the game, and it doesn't. And I don't mind because I think in those games it would actually be a bit more annoying.
Yeah.
Whereas I really, really love Resident Evil 4. So the only reason I'm like, I hope you can't do that is just because I like the idea of making it more difficult because I don't know, I really like playing this game. So, and also I found in the original I found professional really challenging and really fun to like master. So I'd rather that be encouraged for players, but it doesn't matter honestly. It's fine. But
I'm glad that you brought that up because for me, I don't mind a challenge, but it has to be one. You can't. I think stacking that many makes it extremely annoying. Like that, I wouldn't even consider trophy hunting it if it's got 6 playthroughs and all of them are super challenging. It's like do one on the hardest difficulty, knife only. Like do one where it's like
yeah,
something hard, but like you have to do the pistol only, and then you have to go and do the knife only on the standard or high difficulty, and it's just like on like 6 or 7 times. Just stop. I don't want to do that. That
yeah,
just is
I
annoying.
think
It's not fun. But I think having that many playthroughs plus being able to do it on easy with all the rewards, I think that does make it fun because then you're like, I mean, it's so different to play a game with knife only or pistol only or no healing items. Like that is really fun. even on the easiest difficulty, because it's like it's so different. It's just a different way to play the game.
I guess. I mean, I felt like I was mostly skipping everything when I played,
Yeah.
which is fine. But at the same time, like, I'd be doing that if I was just doing the speedrun achievement. Like, I don't need the other stuff for that. I don't know. I don't think it worked very well in Village, as well as it could have anyway. But I think the other problem is kind of like what you highlighted in terms of it's the fact that it requires so many different ones or so many to stack together, where one or two probably would have just been fine. For this remake, I know Maka did a stream yesterday of, I think he did handgun and knife with no talking to the merchant, and he did it on assisted, and I think it only took about 4 hours, so
Wow.
it doesn't seem too bad. The ones I'm interested in are the S plus rank on hardcore, and then the professional run. I want to see how those go. I'm worried that I bet it is going to be this way. I really hope it isn't, but I bet it is going to be this way. That so hard, like back in the original Resident Evil 4, they had like standard. I don't know if they added an assisted, but they had standard and then they had professional. Whereas in this, they've got like standard, hardcore, and then professional. So I assume professional is going to be even harder than it was previously, and I assume it'll be more like Resident Evil 5 professional, which I hated because in RE5 professional, you basically die in one hit to everything, which I don't think is fun. I don't think it really works for. I think it'd be better for Resident Evil 4 than 5. RE6 as well is like such a clusterfuck. Like as you go from RE4 to RE5 to RE6, the amount of just like bullshit going on just goes up with each new entry, right? Like the amount of shit on the screen that's just like a fucking mess of enemies with a mess of attacks. You know, they like they put guys in with guns and all that shit. I mean, even in RE4 they do that, but yeah, it's I hate it. I'm almost getting a headache just thinking about it. Basically, like, so when they made professional like one hit KO in RE5, I was like, this is stupid because it doesn't play to the game's strengths at all, and I would rather they make it difficult in other ways and just still make the damage you take really high, but not like that high, and make it harder in some other ways. Like, I don't know. I mean, it sounds stupid to be like, oh, rethink the encounters, rethink the level design. I mean, that's a lot of work, but that kind of thing would be more interesting for sure. Yeah, so I'm kind of dreading professional, but I'll see how it is. I'm really excited to play through the game multiple times though, so that's good. Like I'm not sick of it yet, which is a really good sign because I'm 17-ish, like 15, 16, 17 hours in, and it's they really didn't cut it down because I wonder if that was like a response to the criticism of RE3 remake, because RE3 remake is really short. Even if you like play it quite thoroughly, it's still quite short. Yeah, and I think people were like, oh, they cut out some stuff from the original, and that's really annoying, and they like streamlined it in a bad way. So it makes me think, because I saw that criticism a lot, if with RE4 they were like, okay, we're gonna basically keep as much in as we can, and then also add some extra stuff as well, instead of taking stuff out and just like doing like the stuff that we think is the best. Instead, we'll give them everything that they could want, which I think's okay. I think it's fine in this case. I get annoyed about like bloat in terms of open world stuff and like endless quests and things, but the Resident Evil games aren't like that. They're so linear and so, I don't know if intricately designed is the right way, but that they feel much more precise anyway, so I think you don't need to cut that much out of them, except for 6, because 6 is an abomination, but the others are fine. I hope they remake Resident Evil 6, because that would be quite funny to see. I'd love to see if Capcom just like stick to their guns. They're like, no, this game was great, you were wrong, and it's just like, it's like almost exactly the same.
I've never played 6, but I would like to see before 6, if they remake 5, I'd love to see what they do first.
Yeah.
Because it's the evolution. of
I don't
like
think they need to
great
change too
interaction.
much about 5, but
You don't think so?
no, I like
A
5. I
lot of
think
people
5's
didn't like
good.
it.
Yeah, I know, but they're wrong, so fuck
They
them.
are. The co-op was the best part though. Like playing it with somebody else, it just was such an experience. Like I played it with my buddy Sean, and it was just like, this is so stupid, but it's so fun. Like, so
There's parts
yeah,
of 5 that suck, definitely, but
yeah.
no, I think 5 is good overall. Yeah, I'm really interested in 6. That game's like 40 hours long as well, by the way. It's ridiculous. It's stupid. I've never beaten it, and I probably never will. I'll definitely never get the completion. Like, I keep being like, oh, I need to. I don't have it. I need to. I have almost all the others, but no, it's. Then you think about it more, and you're like, no, this is
No,
terrible.
that's a waste. Yeah, that's a waste of my time. That's
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure the completion takes like 300 hours as well, or like
Jesus Christ! Don't ever
150
do
or
that,
something.
please.
It's over 100. I'm pretty sure. It's
Please don't.
really not good.
Yeah, please don't.
You
do
might be
that.
able to get it done in 80, actually, but no.
There's an
Yeah.
episode we completions we regret. Resident Evil 6.
Yeah, I mean, it's frustrating because I have RE1, RE2, RE3, RE4. I don't technically have RE5, but I have over 1,000 gamer score in it because I have
do.
like the DLCs and stuff, but I don't
don't
have. Well, okay, so here's the problem with RE5 on Xbox. They added like a versus mode. Do you remember this?
I do remember this. I'd never
Yeah.
played it.
Exactly, right? That's the problem. So for me to have the completion, I'd need to do that, and that's not going to happen.
I have
So-
I have the platinum in it, but I don't have the DLC stuff that they have. Like, I just never touched the DLC on 5, and I really like. I begged my friend so we could go back and like play it together, but I just didn't really.
One of the DLCs is really good. The one where you go to the Spencer Mansion.
I think
really
I played
like
that one actually.
Yeah, that one's
I
good.
think I might have played that one. Yeah.
The other one is the other one's okay. It's not great. It's like it's got the problem where the other DLC has it like puts you in a place, or it has the same like pacing as late game RE5, which just late game Resident Evil is just always the worst part of the game.
Yeah.
Every time there's just too many enemies, and it feels like weirdly they start to feel like a corridor shooter kind of thing. Like they're just like, oh, here's like a room, and there's like a guy with a Gatling gun, and there's a guy with a machine gun, and soldiers, and they take cover, and they've got helmets on, so you can't shoot them in the head anymore, and there's conveyor belts.
Game where Wesker is?
Sorry, what?
Isn't late game where like Wesker is?
No, there's like
because there's like that whole like
not that late, area. Not like the volcano. If you mean,
okay. Oh yeah, no.
The bit before, there's like a military base that you go on, or like some manufacturing place or some shit. Like,
yeah,
the place where he launches the missiles from. He gets on the plane. Yeah, that part sucks.
See, that's what I was thinking about.
Yeah, that part sucks.
Was that missile area?
Yeah, and there's the big fat guys with the Gatling guns.
Yeah,
yeah, and it's just like a bunch of like African warlords.
I really want 5 remade. I do.
Yeah, that part's not good. And one of the DLCs basically takes place in like a place. It just takes place in like a giant shipping container or something. It's stupid. It's bad. Yeah. So I mean, that DLC isn't too terrible, but it's kind of like takes inspiration from the worst part of RE5. But yeah, I am excited for what they do next, though. I wonder if they will go like RE0 or like RE Code Veronica, or if they will tackle 5, or if they'll just be like, oh, we're done with remakes now. Maybe, who knows?
Or do you think we'll get a 9?
Oh yeah, I do. Of course, yeah. No, I just mean in terms of the remakes, right? Because they did RE1, RE2, RE3, RE4. So
yeah,
I assume they're going to do RE9 and then also another remake thing, but maybe not.
They got to do another one that I never played, which is Code Veronica. I want to play that. I want to play it. I like what they're doing here, man. Like, it's kind of weird to take such an old franchise and then remake it, but they remade it so good. They remade it so good that it's like, I have now played 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8. Like,
all the remakes are good.
Never thought any time in my life I'd be that deep into Resident Evil, and here we are.
Yeah,
One of
they're
my
so
favorite
good.
franchises. Yeah,
They're so
it's
good.
crazy.
They've
So
been on such like a good streak since RE7. It's
yeah,
insane.
really, RE7 turned that ship around, dude.
Yeah, it's just been like banger after banger. I mean, some people don't like RE3 remake, but I still thought it was
I
good.
do. I
Yeah.
still stand by. I was just having this conversation with my friend Mugetsu, and I just I like it better than 2, dude.
Nah,
I'm just
you
gonna.
full of shit.
I know everyone says that. It's, trust me, I get it all the time, but it's
The
just like,
police
man,
station in 2 is just so good. Like
I
it's
can't say that
so
the set pieces in 3 are better, but I can say like I just don't like Leon 1, Leon 2, Claire 1, Claire 2. Just the replayability of that game is just so much, and it's just like I just liked the linearity, how quick you can get through 3, and then also how many times I played it. I played it like 3 or 4 times, and it was a perfect length. Like if you're not replaying it, I get it. It's short, but like I love Jill. I think I love her more than Leon. And then I just inherently just loved that game, man, just so much. And I know that there's a lot more scripted parts than there are like the way that Mr. X kind of interacts in 2, but I just love 3. It makes me want to play 3 right now. But do I want to play 2 right now? No. Why? Cuz it's too long. It's so long, dude. Got to play Claire and Leon?
yeah.
No. I just
You don't
don't
have to.
like.
You can just play Leon in 2. It's
That's
fine.
true. That's true. But
Um yeah.
yeah.
So I think that's RE4 remake. I'll probably have more to say about it next time as well, which is exciting. It's been cool seeing people. It's been nice for me. So this is like one of the only games, maybe the only game this year so far where I've been playing it like while everyone else is playing it, while it just comes out and everyone's
Yeah.
like talking about it, which is nice. It's always cool to see
Ooh,
how
dude.
people's experiences are going at the same time as mine.
It's a damn good year for you. You like Dead Space as one of your favorite games,
Yeah,
and you like Resident Evil 4 is one of your favorite games. You got both remade this year.
yeah.
Shit, that's gonna be awesome for you.
I really like Arcane as well. They're coming out with the game.
Yeah,
I like
Redfall.
Tango
Right?
GameWorks. They're putting 2 games out on Xbox this year because Ghostwire
Dude,
Tokyo is coming like next month.
damn, I said 2023 is my year, and you're like,
Yeah,
not really.
yeah.
But
I want to
yeah.
play that the Team Ninja Souls like game, the Wolong Fallen
Oh
Dynasty.
yeah, yeah, Wolong
Yeah,
Dynasty.
yeah. That came out on Game Pass, I think, as well.
Dude, my best friend has been playing that. He moved to DC. He used to live by me. We grew up. We went to school like K through 12 together. But he moved to DC and he just messaged me. He's like playing Wolong Dynasty, and I'm like, dude, what? You gotta be telling me about this game. I actually had it mixed up. When he first mentioned it, I was like, oh, that first person shooter game that's by that one Chinese developer, and he's like, no. I'm like, what? Oh, that's Bright Memory Infinite. That's
Yeah,
actually what I was thinking about. And so I was like, well, I got to look into this Wolong Dynasty game, and I looked into it. Soulsborne, I'm like, oh, not for me, but
yeah. But I
it's
brought it
still
up because
awesome,
I love the Souls games, right? And
right?
I like the Surge too as well, which is Souls inspired. People say the same thing about like Blasphemous and Hollow Knight, and I mean maybe, but not really. But I love Souls likes typically. I mean, they're never as good as the From Software ones, which obviously, but
Did you ever get through the gauntlet on that on Hollow Knight?
yeah. Yeah, I've
You
done the
did?
Pantheon of Hallownest. Yeah,
Oh,
I've got all the
nice! So you got
achievements.
that completion. I
Yeah,
didn't know that,
I think I talked about it. Maybe I forgot to talk about it, but
but that's
yeah,
hype as hell.
no, yeah, I've got everything in Hollow Knight.
I'm glad.
Great game. Really, oh god, Silk Songs this year as well. Jesus
Oh
Christ.
shit!
The
2023.
well, maybe this year. Maybe it'll be 2024. Who knows? The you know how it is with Hollow Knight and Cuphead. They just be like, it's this year, and then it's
Yo, AJ, you know what I fired up, and I only played a little bit. I didn't even get an achievement or a trophy in it. I fired up Death's Door,
right. Yeah,
and
great
I
game.
and I was really having fun with it, and I was like, ooh, this is gonna be my next game. And then that's whenever I went back, I got Plague Tale, and I just put that one aside. But
Yeah,
I'm
it's
gonna
not too
be
long. Death's Door.
no, I'll be getting into it definitely because I liked it already. It was really really fun.
Yeah, it's really cute and fun and easy to pick up and play. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's that, and then there's also 2023. There's I love Respawn. Always talking
Yes.
Titanfall, Apex Legends. I liked Jedi Fallen Order. So yeah, excited for their next game, and then yeah, Jesus, there's too much stuff. But I mean, even like the stuff with Hogwarts Legacy as well. Like I'm interested in that game. So yeah, there's too much, and I need to get to Dead Space. Dead Space should be
Has
there.
to
I
be
should play
priority.
Callisto, but I mean, Callisto, it's like a curiosity thing. I don't think I'm gonna love that game, but whatever.
We're in the same boat. We're in the same boat with that. I almost fired it up right after I beat Dead Space just be out of curiosity, and I knew that I should give it space because I would be comparing it to Dead Space the entire way, and I should have played it the other way around maybe. But I don't care. My curiosity is just like with that game. It's like 8 hours for the completion, dude. Not
Yeah,
bad. It really wouldn't hurt.
yeah. I
So
think they patched the Greg Miller exploit.
I don't want to do that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't mind either. It's fine, but like I don't think it. I mean, people were getting filtered by that game's difficulty. Apparently, they were like, it's too hard.
Yeah, no, I've been
But
told it's not that bad.
yeah, I don't think it seemed that bad. I think whenever I saw the clips that people were complaining about and raging over, I was like, I was thinking you probably just need to get good. But I don't know. We'll see. Like that might haunt me, and I'll be like, fuck this game. This game sucks. But I'm sure there is some like fucked up difficulty spikes in it. Like it doesn't seem like a brilliantly designed game from what I've heard. So, but I don't know if it'll be to that level where I'm like, doing the angry gamer impression, smashing my controller and throwing my
my
TV out
mom
the window, that kind of
My
thing.
mom actually got me a gift yesterday. I went to visit my parents, and it's a stress, like it's like the shape of a Nintendo controller,
Yeah.
and it's like a stress ball, so you can like
She
press
know
it.
you
It
hate
just
Nintendo.
I don't hate Nintendo. I just hate Nintendo. You know what I'm saying? But no, but it's just this fun thing. And like on the back of the packaging, it said for gamer outrage, and I thought that was so fucking funny. I was like, this is awesome. Like a stress ball for like those people who sit there at their stressful job and just squeeze that shit all day. It's like this is a great one for gamers. Like I'm gonna be in surgery tech school under the desk with my stress controller, just squeezing the shit out of it.
Nice. Yeah.
But no, it's a cool gift.
Uh,
Um, and but plus, I don't know if I told you this, but I got gifted a Nintendo Switch, so I have been playing.
nice.
But there's nothing new to report because I've had it on the back burner, dude. I don't know if I've told you this, but the remote play for PlayStation has been significantly increased. Like I have been remote playing PlayStation whenever I'm on the go because it's so good. Like
Nice.
there's like probably maybe a 0.3 second delay, and that is so low, especially when on the go, that I'm willing to deal with it because it's so awesome that I can just play my games and like they're good quality, and I just hook up a PS4 controller to my phone and I just fucking can play that shit anywhere. Like I just play my PS5 like anywhere.
That's
It's
cool.
pretty awesome. So yeah, I've been remote. That's like how I finished the Witcher expansions. I just kind of got a couple quests done when I had downtime or breaks, or I was waiting for class to start, and I'm just like I fired
Yeah.
up on my phone and just bam, knock out a couple quests. And that's like how I've been chipping away at games. Is like you can just do some. It's like, oh, I'm gonna fire this up and knock out this achievement or trophy because I have 20 minutes right now, you know,
Yeah.
and I'm on the go. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
On 2023 being a big year for me, I feel
Yeah.
like my whole like no Ubisoft, no Square Enix stuff is paying off as well because of
Oh
how
yeah.
stacked the year is.
Yeah.
But then also
They don't have shit.
the other thing, well, yes, I mean, Skull and Bones is hilarious to watch, but be like, it was like, they were like, it's coming out. They were like, we're doing an event and it's coming out, and then they're like, it's actually delayed, and then they were like, it's actually mega delayed, and we're canceling all the pre-orders. And then they did that for Sands of Time as well. Yeah, whatever. But yeah, there's so much out. The other thing is that Counter Strike 2 got announced by Valve,
Oh wow.
which is a
Yeah, I
port
did hear about this.
of CS:GO to Source 2. So it's like a lot of the lighting in the maps have changed, and the smokes have really changed. Some stuff's changed with the latency, which seems really cool, and it's exciting. It'll maybe make me go back into Counter-Strike for a bit. I don't have access to I think they're calling it a technical test. I don't have access to it. At the same time, only Dust 2 is available right now, and I really don't like playing on Dust 2. So I'm not too bothered about it. Like I would have checked it out for sure if I got access. I did boot up the game and was like, have I been invited? No, okay, whatever. But so slightly disappointed I'm not in, but at the same time I really don't like playing on Dust 2, so it's fine, whatever. Fuck you, Valve, for not inviting me. I've got like 1,500 hours in this game, but no, I haven't played it in the last like year or so. So I get I think they were inviting people based on recent playtime. So
Yeah,
that's
dude.
fair.
Something super interesting is like just how, because I love gaming so much and I'm interested in almost everything. I know that I have like a character where I'm like, I hate multiplayer and I hate this, and I hate Nintendo and I hate PC. I do hate PC still. I hate everything. But anyways, like I have a lot of friends who I do take interest in what they're playing because it makes me happy to know that we like share an interest in games. And today, my gym buddy that I go to the gym with, he invited me over to play Minecraft Dungeons with him and his wife, and I was like, that sounds really fun. I was like, I have a very busy day, and I'm probably not going to be able to do that, but like we got to definitely make a like schedule something for that. And it's just like other people in my life, I just learned about Counter-Strike 2 because I've got other people in my life who are just like, yeah, very excited about this game coming out. I play the first one a lot. And so it just, my best friend Tyler.
CSGO isn't the first one, by the way. I know it's complicated, but
Oh yeah.
it's not.
But
It's
yeah, a lot
because
of
okay,
people.
so there was like a mod for Half-Life, then got supported Counter-Strike 1.6, then I think Counter-Strike Source, and then they made CS:GO, and then so I think they're calling the new one Counter-Strike 2 because it's going to Source 2, but it's not a direct sequel to Counter-Strike Source. It's a sequel to Counter-Strike Go. So they wouldn't want to call it Counter-Strike Source 2, even though it is on Source 2, because CS Source and CS:GO were both on Source 1, and it would kind of cut out CS:GO if they said it was Counter-Strike Source 2 instead of Counter-Strike 2. But it's not Counter-Strike 2 because there's more than two Counter-Strike games. So yeah, I don't know what they're doing with the naming. They've got like the Xbox One problem, right, where they've fucked up the naming scheme, and now they're trying to fix it, but it just makes it really confusing for even if you're like involved in the scene and yeah, in some way, like, or like keep up with everything to do with the game. Typically it's still not very good naming. I mean, I guess they just want to like start fresh with it. I think everything's migrating over to Counter-Strike 2
You you don't
eventually.
you don't think that Counter-Strike 2 is a good name?
No, because it doesn't make sense, because it's not the second Counter-Strike game.
Do you think that it's the second most, well, like the CS:GO is definitely like the most popular one,
Yeah.
and then they're just kind of
1.6
going
was very popular at the time, but that was a long time ago. People didn't like
right.
Source very much, I think, is the dip, as far as I know.
Okay.
People didn't like CS:GO much originally though, so I don't know. Like, it's awkward. Like, when CS:GO first came out, a lot of people didn't move over to it. They were like, "Oh, this sucks." And then they updated it a bunch, and then people were like, "Oh, this is actually okay." And then it just got like more and more and more and more popular. Like, it's one of those games where it didn't, like most games when they launch, that's where their peak popularity is, and then it just goes down. CS:GO was kind of the opposite, where it launched and people were like, "This is kind of shit," and then it like got more and more popular over time. So yeah, I mean, I don't know, but no, I get what you mean. It's like for the Zoomers, right? It's for like, oh, the first Counter Strike game is CS:GO, so this is Counter Strike 2, but it's not like
I
that.
just like it because it's easy. That's all. That's
Yeah,
like
but
the
it's
reason I like it.
but
It's
it's like
not very good, but it's like the same thing with anything else. It's just like, well, this is the popular one. This is the one people know about. Let's just throw in a 2 and then call it a day instead of being super complicated and calling it Counter-Strike Go with the Wind. Like, whatever the fuck. It's just like, just make it simple, make it easy.
yeah, but
It's
I
not the
think
second one though.
I think the 2 is also to refer to Source 2 in some sense, but I don't know. I don't understand fully, but it's fine. No, it's okay. It's not gonna it's not too terrible, but it's just weird, I guess. They could have, I don't know, they're like, I mean, it's kind of not a new game as well because it's like an update to CS:GO, really. Like it's kind of like a Source 2 update more than a new game, I think, but maybe Valve are holding things back and it is more of a full game, but I don't think so. So it's weird in that sense as well, in terms of the name. The name suggests it's like totally different, right? Like completely different. Whereas it's still going to be the same maps. It's still going to be the same guns. It's just visually different, and some of the mechanics are slightly different. I mean, it's like Counter-Strike Go Remake, really, in a way. But whatever. Yeah, it's too awkward in terms of naming. But
Yeah, very weird. I learned a lot just now. That's great.
yeah, I've also been playing chess, not as much as usual. I haven't had much time last week, and then also, so now I'm like playing like real, quote unquote, real games, like proper video games, because I have more time. Whereas I'll play chess in at times where I don't have much time. Talked about finding something to pick up and play, and chess is really good for that in terms of if I have only like 30 minutes or like an hour, I can just play some chess. But I'm at like 850 elo now. It's going okay. I think my goal is still 1,000, and then when I hit 1,000, I might be just like, okay, that's fine. Whatever.
AJ's retiring. He's
Yeah,
retiring.
maybe at that point, because then I can be like, I can play chess, and I'm not great or anything, but I can play chess, and I'm okay at it. I know a few openings. I know a lot of the like basic techniques, and yeah, so
Bro, you could
maybe
hustle people.
yeah, I could hustle people probably.
You definitely could at
On
level.
on the
You get to level 1,000.
there's the on chess.com, it tells you what percentile you are, and I started at like the 30th percentile, which means that 70% of accounts are a higher rating than me. But now I've hit like the 65th percentile. I hit the 70th percentile at one point, which means that only 30% of accounts are higher rated than me. So I've gone a long way. I've gone from like bottom 30% to top 30%, which is nice.
That's pretty impressive, actually. Yeah.
But at the same time, I think the figures are kind of skewed because I'm still at like I'm still at a relatively low rating. I think what's happened is what's probably happened is a bunch of people have probably played chess and been like, chess sucks, and so like abandoned their account. So there's lots of people that have just made an account, played a couple of games, been like, this isn't for me, and then abandoned it. And then also there's people that have joined chess.com recently because chess has had this like big surge in popularity. So there's like a lot more beginners. So I think it kind of overstates how good I am or like what percentage I am of players because of those two factors. So I'm not getting carried away with it or anything. Most people still obliterate me, but that's fine. It's still really fun, which is nice, and I'm still learning a lot. But I also have been playing Don't Starve together. Have you played Don't Starve?
No, but I want to really bad.
Okay. Yeah, so I've been playing it on PC with this fucking stupid bitch, basically. Absolute imbecile who I play with. And she begged me to play the game with her, and I was like, oh, fine. And she was like, I'm a pro, I'm the best at this game. I'll carry you. Because I was like, oh, I don't know anything about it. Or well, I played Don't Starve when it came out like 10 years ago, for like 30 minutes, and haven't played it since. And so much has changed since then, and it's really complicated. So we play on this world, and we're talking, and she's like, "Oh, I've played, so many hours. I've had so many. I get to winter every time, like all the time. I'm always at winter." And so we start playing, and she's like, "Oh, go do this, go do that." And so I'm like, I don't know what the fuck's going on. I'm like, what do I collect? What do I do? Like, I really went in completely blind, but I was like, it'll be fine because she knows what she's doing. So that's all right. She can just be full like girl boss or whatever, and that's okay. And I'll just help out wherever. So we play, and then like, I don't know, it's like night 5 or something, and she's like, she's not got a torch for. I think she died at this point or something and came back to life. But yeah, she like doesn't have a torch, so it's like nighttime, and she's like, "Oh, put the torch on, put the logs in the fire. We're gonna die." So I had to do that. Had to carry the team as usual, and then yeah, she goes out with like all of her stuff, like all these like great resources, and she's like, "Oh, I've got this and that," and none of these words even mean anything to me. Like I'm like, I don't know what the fuck these things are or what they do, but you make them sound impressive and important to our survival. And she's like, "Oh, I've got all this stuff," and then she goes to this swamp and dies to this tentacle. And then she
Oh
like, "Oh,
no.
there's this revival stone thing." Again, I don't understand the mechanics genuinely, but she's like, "Oh, I'm doing this and doing that, and I'm back in the game." And then she goes back to get her stuff, dies to the same fucking tentacle again, loses everything, and then revives herself like a third time. And then she's like, "Oh, okay, so this time, you come with me, like you come with me, and we'll get my stuff, and we'll be good." Goes over again. I go over with her. She just like fucking dies in front of me to the same thing for the third time. And so there's so much like loot at this like tentacle that I can't pick all of it up in my inventory. And also I'd brought stuff with me because I was meant to be like the I don't know, like a reinforcement, I guess, like a like to also bring resources to make sure we don't die. So
Were you
I've
kind
already
of a
got some
mule?
stuff in like my backpack, and then I can't carry all of the stuff that she's dropped. And I think we run out of like respawn things. So then we're just like, "Oh, fuck it. Let's abandon the world." And it was only after like 14 days, which I don't know. Again, I don't know if that's bad or good, but it seems pretty bad. So yeah, so just very humiliating experience for her. Um, very sad. Uh, but because it was like my first time playing, and yeah, she fucked up all this stuff. I mean, she would say if she was here to defend herself, which she isn't, so like fuck her, right? But um, she would be like, "Oh, well, I had to, instruct you, and that took time, and you didn't know what you were doing, and blah blah blah." But whatever, right? Like I was still alive. I was still surviving. I was losing my sanity at a very rapid pace, which isn't good. But the game's quite spooky in terms of when you lose your sanity, you start to see stuff that isn't there, and like hear things, and it kind of messes with you. And it messed with me because I don't know, like I already don't know what is there and isn't there because I hadn't really looked into much of the game before we started playing. So that was kind of messing with me a bit. So I'm kind of thankful that she totally like ruined everything very quickly, because it was getting tiring carrying her, and also I was kind of like, like don't tell anyone. I was kind of on the verge of like being kind of fucked up myself. So it was a really fun time, honestly. I want to play more. I was playing it on PC, so also I didn't have to worry about achievements or anything. The game seems very complicated and more complicated than when I left it as well back when it came out. I watched a video on there was like a video that was like a guide for beginners, and I got part of the way through that video, but it was very very comprehensive in a good way, and it was good to watch, and I should watch more of it. And I've read a little on the wiki now, so I feel a bit more prepared for whenever the next time we play. But also, I was watching that. I was like, "Oh, you need to watch this guide because you don't know what you're doing." So yeah, next
I
time
really like the
hopefully it'll
art
go
style of
better.
that game,
Yeah,
like a lot. And I've watched. I was just looking it up, and there's this channel that the very first video I ever saw of Don't Starve Together was this channel called Boy Meets Girl, which is kind of like a spinoff of Girlfriend Reviews, but it looked like just like a great co-op game, and I was like, ooh, I want to play that someday. But yeah, man, like it's cool that you're getting into that because like that game fascinates me very much. Like it is a very cool survival game for sure.
Yeah.
And I find your stories hilarious, and I'm excited to hear more. Like honestly, because she's not a very good guide. Let's just
Yeah, so it's so much harder playing with someone completely incompetent. So yeah.
That's so funny. Oh, that's so good. But yeah.
Yeah, that's it. That's all I've been playing.
Oh my god. All right. I guess do you want to jump to the topic on the table?
Yeah, sure.
All right. So the topic on the table today is if our completionist tendencies tend to translate into other aspects of our lives. And this is where I said I was going to talk more about like what I was doing. And like when I'm going to the gym, I feel like I've hit different achievements and milestones, and maybe some together that give me more like boosting. So, I lost like 5 pounds, so that's already good. And then I gained muscle. So I've lost more fat than what the scale might say. So I've lost fat and gained muscle, and that's great. And like I'm looking at things in my life that way, where it's just like if these were achievements, I'm hitting them, I'm getting them, and I try, I'm into the program that I'm into. I'm the class that I'm in right now. I'm at like a 93%, and I just am like, these things translate to where it's like I want to complete things. I want things done. Like I actually am not a very big procrastinator, just because I need things done. And I clean my apartment like once a week. So like I start in the living room and then I work my way to the back of the apartment, and I just do that in a completionist way. Like this room has to be done before I go to the bedroom. The bedroom has to be done before I go to the bathroom. The bathroom has to be done before I go to the game room. Like it's very strange how I do things, and it could be considered OCD, but it's also just like that's just how my brain has worked, and trophies and achievements definitely like contribute to that kind of lifestyle. And it was just like an interesting thing that I was like, I wonder if AJ has these kind of like tendencies where you look at a list or something and you're like you're checking it off and you're getting everything completed. And I don't think that it's a necessarily good or a bad thing, because I think sometimes you have to be flexible and there's ways in life to deal with that. But for me, I like to strictly stick to lists and things. So I was just curious.
Yeah, I feel surely everyone like finishes cleaning one room before they move to the next, right?
Oh man, you'd be surprised, because when I'm in my living room, I look over at the kitchen, I see all the dishes, and I'm like, man, I would be nice to just hit the dishes right now because it's so bad. But then I just stick to where I'm at, and I think that like.
But I feel like that's surely not.
And then some people probably like do all dusting at once, all vacuuming at once, right?
Yeah. Okay. Oh, okay. Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
No,
like
I get what you mean now. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Sure. Yeah.
So.
No, you could either separate by like job or location, right? Like, yeah, I guess sure. Some people might be more freeform than you.
Yeah.
For me, I feel like some of my analysis stuff with media is like a common, I don't know, trope or theme in terms of how I am as a completionist. Like, I feel like when I watch a film or read something, I'll want to like either talk to people or read things about like either analysis of the narrative or analysis of how it was made, or hear other people's opinions on it to try to challenge mine and my views, or just to gain a deeper understanding of something, to see things that I've missed. I feel like I do that a lot. There's like I try to when I watch something, especially, I try to sort of exhaust what other people are saying about it to make it feel like make me feel like I have a more complete understanding of it. And yeah, I feel that way in terms of some of the work that I do as well. Yeah, I just like to engage in topics fairly deeply. And I don't know if it's like an obsessive thing or what, but there's times where I'll watch something or experience something and be like, I never want to think about this again. Like,
Oh
fuck
yeah.
it, right? Like that happens a lot too. But
Yeah.
I feel like I tend to, more than most, when I see something or when I play something or when I read about something, I'm more like, oh, now I want to see like the next thing to do with this and the next thing and the next thing, rather than just like, oh, that was cool, forget about it, blah, 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 do something else, right? Even with, I don't know, stuff like chess, I feel like that's kind of similar to how there's a further goal and setting a goal. It was really useful at the start to be like 1,000 for now, like for now 1,000, and then that's like almost, I don't know, my completion, right? Because I know that there's not that, you can't, like, I'm not gonna become Magnus Carlsen, right, at chess. So
Right.
you have to sort of set a point somewhere and then go to achieve it, and then that helps you like fixate on it and helps you build towards something. So yeah, I feel like I've noticed some of my habits in terms of playing games and getting achievements translates to other aspects of my life in that way, but it's usually to do with, I don't know, like reading or watching or consuming media, I think, rather than some aspects of my work maybe, but I don't know, the link there's a bit more tenuous, I think. I can't really articulate how it relates, and it might be a chicken or the egg type thing where maybe the way I was at school and the way my attitude was towards the subjects I studied then sort of facilitated my approach to achievements or whatever. And so yeah, I think that's as far as I'd take it, I guess.
Yeah. And, one thing that you touched on, which I think is brilliant because it's something that I think I also very much become whenever I like something, I become obsessed with it. And I'm like, I'm watching Keanu Reeves, interviews because I love these movies. It's like, I want to learn more about that actor or whatever. And then, you know, I think that museums are like one of those places where it's like, I'm really interested in this. I want to dive deeper. Let's go to this museum and like I want to learn, like I get really obsessive about things and it's I don't know why, but like for whenever I play games, I think that it feels the same way. It's just like if I really this is how trophy and achievement hunting started for me. It's just like if I really like this game, I'm going to go and do everything it has to offer. And then I just kind of got into that cycle where I'm like completing everything and it became more of a completion number type thing where it's like I like the way platinums show how many games that I've played. I don't like to get platinums. There's a couple of different ways I don't like to get platinums. I don't like to duplicate platinums, even though I just did Witcher 3 again, but that's because that's one of my favorite games. But I also don't like to, get the cheap shit because I don't care about that. I care about how many games I've played and how many games I've experienced. And the more that I experience the games, the more that I know them. And I like that a lot. So yeah, that's like how I do that. And it does tend to bleed into everything. It's like, man, lately, this is like, again, this is more daily life stuff, but this is where it got me thinking. It's just like, and I like to get the dishes done like right when I'm done eating because I can sit down and not have to think about it ever again. Like it's too much to just leave it all laying around. But yeah, I was just really curious if it did affect any other part of your life, like the way that you look at games and then you're like, yeah, that also I guess translates to this aspect or that aspect. But
I think trying to be as systematic and organized as possible is something that it's kind of I don't know, it's the other way around for me now, especially. Like I feel like it's really, really important that I do that for my work because I have lots of like folders and outputs and sets of data, and like organization of all of that stuff is so important, and there's so much there's so many different figures, and yeah, everything that I do with MATLAB as well, my organization could be better than it is. And I consider myself a pretty organized person. Like my skills in terms of that are pretty good, but even there I have like more development and work to do in that area. So it's almost like the stuff in my real life now is more complicated, like a lot more complicated, and needs to be simplified and dealt with in a systematic manner that makes like it makes organizing stuff for like achievements in games like it's like even more of like a breeze because it's like so much more simplified already. I don't know if that's something where it maybe ties into like having a level of not full independence, but being more independent in deciding what to do for my research and like choosing what experiments to do and how to talk about those results and how to analyze the data and like convey it in a way to people and sort of messing around just trying to think of, oh, does it look okay if I do this? You know, like, should I do that? Should I do this? That kind of thing. I feel like that probably ties into it as well. Whereas, like, it's more, I don't know, again, like, not quite free form, but with games, there's already a structure that's in place for you. Like, you're within a set boundary in games, right? Like you, there's just a set list of things that you have, and the list is already pre-prepared. Whereas the stuff I do in life now, it's like I'm coming up with my own lists and trying to find a way to manage all of that. And the list also is potentially infinitely long because it's not like for the work that I do, it's not like it has a hard cutoff like it does in terms of time. Like after 4 years, I'll either have the PhD or something will have gone wrong. But in terms of like the potential for the stuff that I can do and the directions I can choose to go in, there's not really a limit on what I can, like, there's not a set list of things that I have to follow. It's more like, oh, should I do this? Should I do that? And then this can lead to this, which leads to this, which leads to, and so on, right? In so many different directions that it's kind of like I don't know, the way I am with achievements, I guess, kind of maybe helps, but it feels more like it's the other way around at this point, I think.
Yeah, I think that the more that you do with your life and the way that you structure your life and organization definitely leads to how you better approach games, and maybe it gets easier that way. But yeah, so that's interesting. So maybe I should have rephrased the topic as like the way that other aspects of our life bleed into trophy and achievements, really. Because like that's how I feel like it is. I don't think that video games caused me to like start doing that other stuff in my life. I feel like it's the other way around. It's like that's how I tackle things in my life, and then I sat down to play games, and I'm like, okay, so this has a list on it, and I want to get through this game and
Well,
do these other things.
I think the
Challenges,
satisfaction and like the joy you get out of doing it with games can make it sort of inspire you in other aspects of your life, though. So I don't think it's all purely one direction, but
yeah, maybe maybe it's two-way, but because like this is kind of cheesy, but I mean it's real. But like there's whenever I'm working out, it's like, man, I would like to be as fit as Spider-Man or as fit as whatever other character, and it's like those. It's okay to have those kind of goals. I mean, even whenever you're a kid and you're like, I want my haircut, I want it like this person or this character or this actor or whatever. And it's just like that goes for all human beings. Everyone wants to have somebody else's, like they're inspired by somebody else or they want something like that. So I think that, yeah, trophy and achievements have definitely taken huge parts of my life, but it's pretty cool. I don't know. It's cool. It's a cool thought process. I just was wanting to pick your mind about it, you know?
Yeah, nice.
I think that's it. You want to talk about the trophy and achievement of the week?
Sure.
All right.
I can go first. So
Yeah, do it.
for me, I'm going with, I like a lot of the achievements in Resident Evil 4 Remake.
Oh, I'm excited.
Just because the names are quite good for them. But I'm going with grilled big cheese, which is to defeat Mendez. And what's his name? Luis is his name. Yeah, I think Luis calls him the big cheese at one point. in RE4, and it became like a meme, right? Like there's lots of memes about Resident Evil 4, like bingo and no way,
Yeah.
bro, and you know the ballistics, securing the ballistics,
Your
and
right hand comes off.
yeah, stuff, all stuff like that. And one of them is calling Mendez the big cheese. So, and also grilled big cheese is good because when you fight him, he's in like a burning barn, or he sets fire to a barn, or you set
That's
fire to the
amazing.
barn. Yeah, so it like fits with what's happening in the story. It's also self-aware. It's a joke. Yeah, it made me laugh when I got it. So yeah, and it shows the amount of love they have for like the community, and also like the original game, like the reverence they have for the original, and how goofy the dialogue is. Yeah, so love that. Big fan.
All right. Well, mine is pretty good. It was from Hogwarts Legacy, and I was super shocked to see this achievement, and I was like, this is going to be so much fun. And dude, let me tell you, it's hilarious to do. But you have to use Flipindo 10 times to tip one cow or several. And it's called Spilled Milk. And you just go around and you just flip these cows over. And it just like ragdolls them. And I'm like, this is brilliant. Like whoever thought to put this in the game was having serious fun that day. Like, man, it is fantastic.
That's a
I
good name.
recommend anyone to
Yeah.
just go and flip cows because that shit is hilarious.
There's cows in Hogwarts Legacy. I didn't.
Yeah, dude, it's so fucking funny. So good. Oh my gosh.
Is this the first appearance of cows in the Harry Potter universe?
Good question. I doubt
don't know.
so.
Yeah, I doubt it, but I don't remember any cows.
I imagine there's a shot where it's the
Like over the
Hogwarts
countryside
Express
or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and there's cows in the
There's
back
got to be
or
cows.
something.
Yeah, cows
Yeah.
confirmed in Wizarding World.
But I was like, that has to be on the trophy and achievement of the week because that shit is great. That shit's great. But
yeah, I love when they do like side stuff like that as well in their achievement lists that are just fun.
It's not obnoxious. It's really not hard to do. It's just kind of hilarious, really, is what it is. I guess that's our show. Do you have any final thoughts, AJ?
Yeah, I'm loving RE4 Remake. It makes me really want to get to Dead Space. I don't know if I'm going to hold off until it gets added to EA Play, because I feel like it will after like 6 months, but maybe not. I think it's been selling really well, which usually means it takes longer to end up in a subscription service. So yeah, I might just wait until I see it on sale instead. Go for it then. But God, yeah, it makes me really want to play. It makes me want to play the Dead Space remake even more. But I've got so much to do in RE4 remake that it's like I shouldn't get ahead of myself, because I probably will get busy at some stage. So take one thing at a time. It's so easy to like just go on the store and just see like a bunch of things and be like, oh, I want to try that, and then to buy them and then never play them. Like, yeah, it's way too easy to do that. So I'm going to try to be patient with it. It like the hardest time was already when it first came out and not playing it, I guess. But then it was more of a busyness thing rather than a like being, I don't know, responsible with my finances thing, I guess. But
yeah. I was almost gonna recommend that you like, if you feel burnt out on Resident Evil 4 and how many playthroughs you have to do, just jump into Dead Space Remake. But
they're
again,
similar games though in terms of how they play, right? So
yeah, I guess so, a little bit.
Like if I was
survival horror, man.
Yeah, if I was really burned out, like I'd probably want to play either nothing or something like way different, right? But I don't know. I mean, I can play Dead Space. Dead Space is a comfort game. Oh, the other thing I wanted to bring up, actually, speaking of EA, did you see that DICE announced they were like, yeah, we're getting rid of a bunch of these Battlefield games from, like, we're delisting them from the store. And they also said they were delisting Mirror's Edge as well, which is a single player game, obviously.
Yeah.
So that sent me into a panic and a few people into a panic. So I bought it digitally quickly. I already have a physical copy of it on 360, but I was like, I'll buy it digitally as well, because if I like lose the disc or the disc becomes worth like a ridiculous amount of money or something. Like, don't want to have to worry about it. I want to own it in like 2 different places. And then like a few hours later, DICE were like, oh, actually, we fucked up the blog post. Mirror's Edge isn't being delisted. The others are, but Mirror's Edge isn't being delisted. And I was like, wow, they just got like a sale out of me there. They got me to buy it. I bought it at full, like, well, I think it's at like, it was like £15. So it wasn't like full price, but it wasn't on sale. Like, I've seen it for cheaper for sure. But I was like, I've got to get it now because it's going to disappear forever. And then they were like, oh, joke's on you. There's a prank. It's not actually going anywhere. I was like, what the fuck? So that was annoying. Just an EA thing, I guess. Like,
they're like, buy our shit.
Yeah. They're like, we're getting rid of it.
They saw what Nintendo did. They saw what Sony did, and they're like, ooh, we can do that too.
Yeah. Yeah. No, because I panicked because Mirror's Edge is one of my favorite games.
Yeah, Mirror's Edge is pretty sick.
It's so good. I wish that game got like a remake. That'd be sick. It doesn't need a remake, but I wish it did, just so something would happen in that franchise. You know, this is the tragedy of being like a big Mirror's Edge fan, is like, I'm normally against remaking games where it's like the original still plays totally fine, but like Mirror's Edge is so dead as like an IP and a franchise, like nothing's gonna happen with it, then I'm like, yeah, they could remake the first one. Like, maybe they remake it, maybe it sells 10 million copies somehow, and then maybe they're like, boom, Mirror's Edge 3, right? So like, I'll take anything at this. I'll take a Mirror's Edge movie even. That's how desperate I am. For something to happen in that franchise. Yeah, I'll take whatever I can get, really. But no, that kind of pissed me off, but also was like a funny story. Because I remember linking it to people. I was like, buy Mirror's Edge, Mirror's Edge is going away. And then it doesn't go away. Which I'm glad it doesn't go away. Like, that's the right move. But
you win.
Yeah.
But
also,
everyone
what
wins
the fuck?
and loses.
Do you have any final thoughts?
I don't think I do. I'm just going, I guess my final thoughts are that I'm trying to get back into gaming. And so, Plague Tale Requiem was really the first step back in. Because, I mean, I got that Stardew Valley completion. And then I was just like, but RE4 is around the corner. What do I start? Do I play Callisto? Do I play something I played before? Do I start Death's Door? And then all of a sudden, like I said, it was just a library and seeing Plague Tale Requiem. And I was like, that's linear. It's a great story. And I was like, let's fucking go. I'll just platinum that real fast, because I played it on Xbox when it launched on Game Pass, remember?
Oh yeah.
So this is a game.
Yeah, I was confused. I was like, are you stacking PS4 and PS5? And then I was like, wait a minute, it was next gen only, wasn't it? And then I was like,
yeah.
But then I realized it was because you played it on Xbox first, because it was
So it would just be nice to add to that completion number, like just another game that I did complete. It's one that I played before, but now I have the number. So that's where I kind of was like, if I can just play in chapters, and I think I'm going to do that with Resident Evil 4, like play a couple chapters, maybe 2 a night, try to make progress that way.
Yeah. Some of these chapters in RE4 took me so long. I think there was one recently that took me like 2.5 hours.
Damn.
One chapter. I was like, ooh.
At least I think I could still do that. 2.5 hours. I like to play games in big chunks. I don't like to do the small increments. But yeah, that's it. So thanks for listening, everyone. Peace out. Happy hunting.
See ya.
Thank you so much for listening to Complete Edition. If you like the content, consider supporting us on patreon.com/completion club. If you have any questions or would like to reach us, email completionclub@gmail.com. Thank you for listening to Complete Edition.